First, there's a new operation underway at this hour to keep several caravans of migrants from entering the U.S. After an order from the president, Pentagon officials say more than 5,000 troops are being sent to the U.S. southern border, with hundreds arriving today, as the Trump administration weighs its options for stopping the flow of illegal immigrants with an executive order. President Trump will discuss the immigration fight in an interview on Fox News at 10 p.m. tonight with Laura Ingraham. He'll also be discussing the horrific killing of 11 people at a Pittsburgh synagogue over the weekend, gathered together to celebrate new life, only to become the victims of a horrific hate crime. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts is on the North Lawn with a look at how the administration is handling all of that tonight. Good evening, John.
Brett, good evening to you. The National Guard has been sent to the border many times to assist the Border Patrol, but President Trump is making an even greater show of force, dispatching 5,200 active duty military to the border.
In an extraordinary move, the Pentagon will be sending forces, many of them active duty, to the border with Mexico. In an exclusive interview with Laura Ingraham to air at 10 p.m. tonight, President Trump said the military deployment is to keep the caravans, now numbering 3, from crossing the border and end the practice of catch and release.
We're going to have tents. They're going to be very nice, and they're going to wait. And if they don't get asylum, they get out. And very few people, they don't actually, if you want to wait, they don't usually get asylum. You know that.
The deployment, dubbed Operation Faithful Patriot, will put 5,200 troops on the border. Military police, engineers, doctors, and aviation assets to support Customs and Border Protection personnel.
Our message to the organizers and participants of this caravan is simple. We will not allow a large group to enter the United States in an unsafe and unlawful manner.
The White House is also considering executive or regulatory action. One idea being kicked around: only allow migrants to make asylum claims at ports of entry, meaning migrants who cross the border illegally would not be allowed to claim asylum in the United States.
There are a lot of options that are being discussed right now. The number one priority is looking for ways to secure our borders.
The horrific shooting at the Tree of Life synagogue was also on the White House agenda today. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders becoming visibly emotional at times.
This atrocity was a chilling act of mass murder. It was an act of hatred. And above all, it was an act of evil.
But the president also took on his favorite foil, the news media, tweeting, "There is great anger in our country, caused in part by inaccurate and even fraudulent reporting of the news. The fake news media, the true enemy of the people, must stop the open and obvious hostility and report the news accurately and fairly." While there is nothing to suggest the synagogue killer's hatred was motivated by the media, President Trump says his tweets were justified.
I was in the headline when they got him. They didn't say bomber found. They talked about Trump in the headline.
President Trump will travel to Pittsburgh tomorrow in what he hopes will be a moment of national unity. But 11 Jewish leaders from the area have said the president is not welcome unless and until he fully denounces white nationalism.
Does the White House believe this president has done enough to denounce white nationalism?
The president has denounced racism, hatred, and bigotry in all forms on a number of occasions.
President Trump says that he will visit Pittsburgh tomorrow to pay his respects to the 11 people who were killed in the synagogue. He said that he'll also visit a hospital where he'll meet with law enforcement officers who were shot during the standoff with the suspect, as well as meet with some of the victims in the congregation who survived that horrific shooting. Brett?
More on all this with the panel a bit later. John Roberts live on the North Lawn. John, thanks.